Welcome to the Game Gymnastics Podcast. Thank you for joining me today. And today we've got a guest that I've been training with for 11 years at the City of Birmingham Gymnastics Club. And here we have Zion Azari.
Hi, guys.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. So your gymnastics journey, what's happened with you?
So if I start from the very beginning, I started gymnastics pretty similarly to how a lot of people started, where I was just very hyperactive as a child. And so my mum brought me to City of Birmingham very early, and I started doing rec classes, got through the rec classes over the course of about 3-4 years, and then started in the same group as yourself in 2013, and I've been training with you guys ever since. And I've gone on to do things such as I won the British in 2018 under 12. I also managed to become reserve for EOF last year, and also second all around at British last year as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got a decent portfolio behind you.
Yeah.
You've had a few national medals, few international experiences too.
Yeah.
So what were those like?
Honestly, I feel like every achievement that I've had in the sport has been just amazing. Like I've looking back at them, for example, like last year I competed in my first competition for GB, which was also alongside you. It was honestly just amazing. Like going to a competition and competing for your country is like a feeling that you can't really explain.
Yeah, you feel a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
And being able to compete for your country, it's a huge achievement, isn't it? And for the longest time, that was like the only thing I wanted in the sport.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You see all the gymnasts above you competing for Great Britain, it's like one day.
I want to be like that, yeah.
And even if it's just at a junior level, even if it's just a minor international, air quotes, like it's still something, and it's still wearing the flag on your chest, and you can still feel real pride in what you've done. And yes, it's the start. It's the start of where you want to go, but it is something.
Yeah.
And it's big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. So what's the goal from here on out? So you've had a few national successes, a few international experiences.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go eventually?
Well, the end goal obviously is to go to the Olympics and win an Olympic medal. Hopefully the Olympic champion. But I think at the moment, because obviously at this point in my gymnastics career, it's a pretty big change, because this is my last year as a junior. I'm going on to being senior next year. So there's a lot in this sort of period of time that I have to do now to prepare myself for that, to give myself the best chance to be selected for teams for like European championships, world championships, etc. So I think my goal for now is just getting as many upgrades as I can ready for the next code of points, and just keep putting myself in a good place ready to be selected for teams.
Nice. So generally speaking, what are those sorts of upgrades that you're looking to do?
I think going piece by piece, there's obviously a lot of different things that are coming in the next code. So there's a lot of skills that not many people are doing that are starting to go up in value. So everyone's starting to do them. So it's quite hard to tell what the basis of routines are going to be for next year, because we don't really know what other people are doing, and we don't know what the benchmarks are going to be. But for the moment, getting skills like, for example, double layout somersaults on floor, they're going up in the next code. So everybody's trying to get those. So doing as many upgrades as I can, like that are going to be complemented to the code, will definitely help me to build routines off of that.
Nice. Yeah. So just for clarification, like double straight or double layout itself is going from a D to an E.
Yeah.
But then also you've got double pike going from a C to a D.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like every progression in a double somersault, for example, is going up, basically. Yeah. So what are some other examples of that you're sort of trying to start taking advantage of now?
Releases on high bar. So obviously in the new code, they are, I'm not 100% sure on like the full requirements for it, but I know you can only do I think it's like 3 types of.
I was wrong.
Oh, you was wrong.
I was wrong about that. Yeah, I was wrong about that. So yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
so releases.
Yeah, releases. Well, I know that Ginga is going to be a skill that is going up in value. So a lot of people are going to be doing that in their routines. And so getting that skill consistent and putting it in combinations, so doing like catches into gingers or squat halves into gingers and stuff like that is going to be huge in the next code. So that's something that I'm working towards at the moment to get in my routines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, ginger is a D.
Yeah.
But then you've also got other skills that are going up as well.
Yeah.
Especially on high bar. Mm-hmm. Like loads of releases are changing. So you've obviously got the ginger, you've got Jaegers as well, those are going up. I think, Lucan's a G now. I'm not sure if it was an F. But I checked the code.
Yeah.
It's
a G.
It's a G now. Oh. Def is a G.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winkler is a G.
It's a G, yeah.
Like, there are so many skills that are going up to a G. It's crazy. So a lot of gymnasts will be sort of changing their routines around. And because it's now also going down to 8 skills, I reckon so many people are going to do multiple Gs in their routine.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's exciting.
It's
a bit scary, but it's exciting.
Very exciting. I can't wait to see it, because not only high bar, everywhere is going to, obviously being 8 skills, everyone's just going to be like chucking so many like different rare skills that we don't see. And seeing that in competition is going to be like amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I think going down to 8 skills, it's a bit of a blessing, bit of a curse.
Yeah.
Because if you're someone who's been writing out 10 skills for years, and say you've got like an E average for like the entire thing, then you've got to cut out some of those high value skills and then replace some of the ones you've got with higher value skills. And it's just more learning new skills, all that sort of stuff. So it gives and it takes, but it does allow you to do higher value skills and still be okay for the dismount and stuff.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But yeah, I think for gymnasts that are going from junior to senior, it'll be a bit easier for them, because I feel like for me, one of my biggest worries for going into doing 10 skills, because obviously a few years ago we didn't know that it was going to go down to 8 skills, but one of my biggest fears for going into 10 skills was having the endurance to actually get through the routines, because I feel like, well, obviously you've gone through that, you've gone to do 10 skills, and it seems like a pretty big jump. So I think going down to 8 skills for senior is like, it's good for me and people my age, because it's not really much different other than the fact that it's just got to be more difficult and high value skills. Yeah.
I think, it is going to be a bit weird, because you're going from sort of like, so you've started with, you got to put as much into it as possible, but you still got to write it out for 10 skills. So there's still got to be an element of endurance, but there's got to be more of an element of endurance there.
Yeah.
But now you've got less skills, so you've got less of a focus on endurance, but you got to stay on for those big skills.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how it's going to match up, but I think consistency is always so important, and if you're going to chuck these big skills, you have to make sure that you get in them consistent. You need to make sure, if it's on bar, staying on the bar as long as possible, especially in routine prep.
Yeah, definitely. I think routine prep might, well, to be fair, it could even change a bit for like these new like formats of routines. I don't know, maybe your endurance weeks or heavy weeks of routines will be a bit longer, or you'll do more repetitions of routines and stuff like that, just because you want to be able to get through the routines where you're putting in maximum effort to 8 skills and stuff like that. But I don't know, it's only time will tell, really.
Yeah, I reckon the change for like the actual routine prep should be relatively minimal.
Yeah.
But there'll be, you still need to do so many.
Yeah.
Because you've gone from doing 10 skills to 8 skills. It does make it a little bit easier in some senses, but it also makes it harder in some senses, because you've got to go for those big skills. So it gives and it takes.
Yeah.
As with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So back to you. You're what I would call a ring specialist.
Some would say.
Yeah. So you've obviously got some good strength skills. You've got some good skills in general on rings.
Yeah.
What would you say is going to change in your routine for next code?
Next code, definitely a lot more strength. My routine currently consists of 3 skills as well, 3 strength skills. So I think going into senior and trying to get into teams and get into finals for rings, I'm going to need to be able to do like 4 or 5 strength skills in my routine, bigger dismounts, more like just better execution in general. So I think Well, when I've been like looking into different rings workers, so say for example, say Courtney Tuller, for example. I know he's a rings worker. He's a rings worker. So his routine is very similar to a lot of other rings workers' routines. They start with an Aserie into top planche, and then they do like maybe like 3 or 4 strength skills in their routine. And that obviously has come off the fact that they've sort of found what works best for this code to get the best score possible. And so it's quite hard to tell what is going to be required to get the best score in the next code. But I think once there's been a few competitions and stuff, obviously I'll get my routine before then, but once there's been a few competitions and stuff, you'll be able to have a bit of a better idea of what I actually need to do to be able to make those finals and make those teams.
Mm-hmm. I reckon there will be an element of studying the code as well, trying to see how you can maximize the score. Mm-hmm. So have like different sort of options for what you can do in your routine, and sort of study which ones you might be able to get less deductions on, or whatever else it is, like difficulty, how actually hard it is for you, how easy it is for you to actually get through that.
Yeah.
And sort of like go through different permutations as such of a routine to then land on the right one for you, because it is for you, and gymnastics is like an individual sport, and you have to find what works for you.
Yeah.
So it's just about trying all these different skills and all these different combinations, but also seeing what works on a numbers point of view.
Yeah. I think next year specifically, because obviously at the moment I'm working towards doing different strength skills and stuff. Obviously I'm a bit injured at the moment, but when I'm back to doing full rings, I'll be working towards strength skills as I was before. And stuff like, say, inverted crosses, for example, I feel like maybe not next year, but working towards those, they're going to be a huge part of my routine, because although they're quite high risk, they're very high reward as well. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do in and out of those. So having that in my routine will be big. And then just different moves into Maltesers, crosses. Well, to be fair, crosses are like, they're not like quite easy to do like tidily, but I feel like difficulty wise they're not as high as some other skills. So maybe like a few Maltesers in the routine will definitely be needed. Inverted cross will be needed, and then maybe like one cross and then a few swings at a dismount will probably get me like what I need to do. But I mean, I've done a bit of like research on what I actually want to put in my routines and stuff, and there's a lot that can go into it, but it's just hard to sort of pick out what is going to work and what I can do without like dying at the end of the routine. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, so there are a couple of changes as well on rings, not only to difficulty, but also to skills like Yonasan and Yamawaki.
Yeah.
And so if you do a Yonasan, then you have to do a swing to handstand afterwards to get the full value.
Yeah.
And same goes for Yamawaki. Do you reckon those sorts of changes are going to affect you?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've already sort of had a look at how that would affect me and sort of tried to work around it, like with the structure of the routine. But I feel like it could work, but it's going to be very different in terms of the structure of my routines and stuff. Because obviously at the moment, I don't do either of those to swing to handstand. And so having to put one of them with a forward giant, for example, and then go back into some sort of strength skill is going to be so different.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm not sure where the cutoff is for what you can get full value out of it. Is it literally just a swing to handstand? Is it into a strength skill? Can you do that? Or is it literally just a handstand?
I think it's just a handstand. I spoke to Luke about it, and he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you just have to go to handstand, like, because obviously I do a Yamawaki into a back up to cross. And I was like, oh, can I still do that? He was just like, I don't think so, no. So it's literally just got to be straight to handstand. Yeah.
I'm resisting the urge to swear.
Yeah, it's very annoying, but I mean, it kind of works though. I guess you get like the momentum to swing to handstand, but it's just, I don't know, it's just a very annoying.
Yeah, it's certainly going to change how people do routines, because currently they'll either do like Yonesan Yamawaki into a strength skill or Yonesan Yamawaki, they may well do it into a handstand, but if you do it that way, even if you're currently doing it to handstand, you still lose a 10th on the Yonesan Yamawaki, whichever one it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Realistically, the podcast isn't about individual people, it's about the gymnastics itself. It's about the whole thing. And when you talk to individual people, you get their own stories, their own goals, their own like ambitions, but it also adds sort of a puzzle piece to the overall picture. And once you get to see the overall picture, it's just like gymnastics as a whole. But if I then start talking about myself, it doesn't really add to that much. Yeah. Because, I mean, I already know my experiences.
Yeah, very true.
And as much as this is for the viewers and or the listeners as such, it's also about like me figuring out what other people are doing and what other people are working towards and understanding gymnastics as a whole, really. Because like your specialty is very different to mine. Yeah. Like I'm good on high bar P bars mostly, a little bit of floor.
Pretty good.
I'm more of an all-rounder, I'd say, but I'm terrible at rings. And rings is like your best piece. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's good to sort of like,
compare. Yeah, exactly. You've got rings, vault, floor, a little bit of floor, high bar.
A little bit of high bar.
You've got some good releases on high bar though.
Yeah. I can put a good routine on high bar, but it's just, I don't know. I just need to actually put the routine together. Yeah.
And like with me, rings is just really hard for me. I struggled to get strength. For the longest time, I struggled to get swings, like swinging skills, good. Yeah. And my routine is relatively clean. Yeah. But other than that, I don't really have much in it. And I've always struggled with strength, not only because, well, I'm quite heavy, but also I've had like a ton of injuries that have stopped me from getting strength. Like my shoulder went just before I got my cross. Yeah. And I still haven't been able to do that since. Yeah. And Maltese has always been a bit of a struggle. Yeah. Planche.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. And I still never competed it because my shoulder went before British teams. So, yeah, it's like the only strength or swing to strength skill I've ever had is kip to cross or hommer. No, kip to half lever or hommer to half lever. So it's not, there's not been much to it. And now with this next code change.
Yeah, it's going to be vital.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think rings is like, well, for me, rings is like, you sort of have to find your own way to do stuff, if that makes sense. Like, obviously that is gymnastics itself. You find your own way to do stuff, but rings specifically, like there's, obviously you have a technique to do stuff. There's a technique that will always work, but then there's adaptations to that will be specific to you. Like me, for example, say my dismount, for example. Like I've been doing double since 2020. How old was I? 13. So I know a lot of people struggle with that dismount, and like I've always just sort of found it like a natural thing for me to do. And I think, I don't know, the technique for it is, I've been taught a good technique for it, but I feel like it's, that there's something that I feel in it that is just different to anything else that I do. Like, I think the way I kick through the rings or the way that I twist, I'm not really sure what it is, but I just know that certain thing, it just sort of clicks and I can just do it. But I mean, I'm sure you've sort of feel that with maybe other pieces, maybe like, I don't know, P-bars with your like McCuts and stuff like that. Like you have your own way of doing it, sort of.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think once you find that in any skill, once you find that, then like it just makes it so much easier to do. And like, I don't know, it just feels like I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest. But yeah, it's
it's like it's your own way of doing it. It's it's finding the way that works for you. It's finding your specific technique. Yeah. Like my Kovac is a bit different to other people's Kovac's.
But it works.
It works for me. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like it's going to be really early.
But it's like perfect.
But then it's actually on the bar.
Yeah.
Or like full stretch.
Yeah.
But it's just what works for me. And I know that I might struggle with doing like things like Casina because I don't have like the perfect technique for the Kovac itself, but I can do Coleman just about now. And sometimes, well, I'm probably just going to have to work with what I've got. Like I've got a decent Kachev, so I'll start learning Lukin. I'll just play to my strengths, whatever these end up being. Yeah. Because I don't actually know yet, really. Yeah. Like, I've got on a decent base, and Luke said to me yesterday, he doesn't really think that there's much I can't do on bar. So I just got to find out what works best for me. Yeah. And what I can learn that won't take me years. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That will be worth my while, basically. Yeah, yeah. I mean, finding the skills that will work for you is obviously going to be quite hard because, I mean, there's a lot of trial and error, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm still trying to find what works for me as well. I mean, obviously, like, speaking to Luke and stuff, he's obviously said that with me, I'm quite a powerful and dynamic gymnast. So doing skills that involve a lot of power and fast-paced movements is sort of my sort of forte. But I still feel like it's quite, because obviously my spatial awareness, for example, is awful. So doing skills like on floor, for example, doing stuff like triple doubles, I'm going to struggle a lot with that because I have no clue where I am. But I don't know. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. It's going to be very hard. But I think at the end of the day, once you've got them, and it will just be like, really, really worth it. Yeah. Yeah. It's finding what works for you, but then it's also worth your while. Yeah. Because you might be really good at certain things, but they might be like worth pennies. Yeah. In gymnastics terms, like it might be worth B's and C's. Yeah. Like if you can do a multi-T's on floor, great, but it's worth what, C?
Something
B?
like that, yeah. I think so.
I don't even know. Yeah. But like, you don't know because it's not worth much. It's the same as triple Russian. It's the same as wide arm handstand. Yeah, yeah. And those are so much easier.
Way easier, yeah.
So like, you got to figure out how it works for you. If you've got loads of strength, how can you use it to your advantage on a piece that isn't strength based? Yeah, yeah. Maybe
on the topic of floor, like there's a lot of changes coming to floor next year. Obviously, the introduction of a single leg scale. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that one, but that's another like huge change that's coming.
Yeah, like thing is, it seems so pointless.
Yeah, it does.
Like, but who really wants to see a single leg balance in a floor routine? Who?
Exactly, and it doesn't count towards the 8 skills in the routine as well. It just sort of has to be done.
Yeah, it doesn't need to count toward the 8 skills. It breaks up the routine needlessly. Yeah. It's for these like huge gymnasts, these like massive behemoths of people doing these crazy tumbles, and then they do a Y balance or an arabesque.
Literally, I don't get it. Like me, for example, I'm not a very flexible gymnast, as we both know, and so me going into a floor routine and like I don't even know doing like an arabesque in the middle of the routine, it's gonna like if it's a deductible thing as well, it's just gonna bring E scores down so much, I think. But I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that you won't know what it's going to be like until you actually see it in action. But yeah, it's a very very strange new rule in the code of points.
Yeah, and it's just like imagining a floor routine, like Jake Jarman's floor routine. He does the Jarman. He does 3.5 twisting double straight. He does 2.5 twist punch double front. Yeah, and then he does what does he do next? He does triple double tuck. Yeah. And he does a Y balance in the corner.
Literally. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, yeah. I don't know how it would even work. Like, there's not really any way you can really do a balance to sort of fit the flow of the routine. Like, you'd literally just have to just stop still in the corner and just do it. Yeah. Like, there's nothing else you can do out of it or into it or out of it or anything.
Yeah, it just seems so weird. Like, it just doesn't seem like it will add anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just all weird. Joe Cameron-Jones said to boycott it.
You know what?
Just don't do it. Everyone takes the 3/10 rule on an even playing field.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'd surely just have to take out the code after that.
If no one does it, they kind of have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the message worldwide.
Literally, that. To be fair though, like I don't know. Because isn't it like the time of the routines going down as well?
Yes, so it's going down from 115 to 110.
Yeah.
Not a huge change considering it's also going down to 8 skills.
Yeah, very true.
And you're probably going to have one less tumble in there. Yeah. So it's fair enough. Like 5 seconds, you're actually gaining time there.
Yeah, but then the balance is going to add another, 2 seconds?
Yeah, at least. So because you have to get into it and get out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. So there's another 5 seconds there, probably.
Yeah. So that 5 seconds is instantly just like wasted.
Yeah, it just seems so pointless.
Yeah, literally. And group ones are also getting a bit of a upgrade as well, I'm pretty sure. Like, I was speaking to Luke about different group ones that I could do. He said that from straight plank to press into handstand, that's going
that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be I can't wait to see people doing that. It's going to be so sick.
I mean, you're going to do it.
Well, I don't know. Like, because I've got a good triple Russian. And it just depends on what my routine is, really. Because, like, I shouldn't need 2 group ones in the routine. But, I mean, 2Ds, it could be useful. Wait, is it triple Russian a D?
C
and a D.
C currently.
Yeah.
I doubt it's going up.
Nah, probably not. It'll probably go down. Well, I wouldn't, but, like, I wouldn't.
I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do that, at least.
But yeah, a C and a D, like, there's 2 pretty decent, like, group ones there. And I can obviously substitute between them because they wouldn't be too hard for me specifically. So doing that and then maybe, like, I don't know, full twist double pike, double twist double front, double straight or double straight full, and then finish on a double and then
you gotta do well, if you're not doing side tumble, that doesn't matter. But like, you can only do 2 consecutive diagonals. To be fair, you could do 2 consecutive diagonals, then do a link, then do a third, then do the side travel, whatever you do, cartwheel dive roll, and then do the last one after that.
Yeah,
that would work.
Yeah,
but I can't imagine that would even make sense because you just like in the end it's a cartwheel and dive roll.
Yeah, exactly.
You can probably do the first 2 cartwheel dive roll, and then maybe a link, then maybe a link after the next one. It doesn't really matter really.
Yeah,
but it's just what works for you again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, my routine for floor is like, I think for me, I have quite a lot of good skills. Not necessarily ready to go, but like, that are sort of working towards even. So say, for example, if I did my routine, so I did double twist, double front, so 2 skills, that's what, D and D. Yeah,
so double twist, double front, DD, 2/10 connection, so there's a mark already.
Yeah.
And then
double straight full, because that's higher than double next code, isn't it?
Double straight full is
175.
F next code.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it's one higher than double.
Yeah, so it's 1.6.
Yep.
And then full twist double pike.
So C, E, so 1/10 connection bonus. Currently at 1.6, that gives you 2.5.
Yeah. And then
25.
Say I did cartwheel dive roll, and then
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then triple Russian, which is C.
Cool.
2.7, no 2.8. And then if I did the plank press to handstand, another D.
Yep.
And then I don't even know, like a triple twist and a double back full or something.
You can't do triple twist because you have to end on a double somersault as well next code.
No, if it's 2 different skills. You'll do a triple twist and then a double somersault. That's
right. So so it would either be triple twist or the D link.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same amount, doesn't really matter. So that gets you to 3-2 and then what, double back full?
Double back full or double. It just depends on.
Yeah, so either a 3-6 or a 3-7. Yeah. So 5-6, 5-7.
It's decent. And that would be like, that's a pretty big routine, I'd say. Like, there's not a lot of people that were doing routines like that. So.
Yeah, like the thing is, you got to think about the start scores. It's not where it is now. Like I had a 5.7 on floor, this code.
Start of the year.
Yeah. But obviously I can't do that anymore because that was a 10 skill routine.
Yeah.
I think I counted B, lift, and C was my next lowest. It was either C or B, but the B was a straight front.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that was connected with the 2.5. So I get basically what's worth a C in that. So that's going down by at least 5/10.
Yeah.
So that's like 5.2.
Yeah, so the big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah, so you hitting 5.7 would be huge.
Huge, yeah. I mean, that's going to be like up there with floor finalists, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what people are at right now, but they're at the very least above 6. They're like 6'2", 6'3" or so. Yeah. I know Jake's got something stupid though.
I think he's 6'4".
He's always been like huge on difficulty though.
Yeah,
so,
very much.
I mean, if he stuck every tumble, he'd be like 15'5" or something stupid like that.
Yeah. I mean, is he doing floor at the Olympics, do you think?
Well, he's doing all around.
Oh, yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, if he goes there and does that on floor, then I wouldn't see a reason why he wouldn't become like Olympic champion or something.
Yeah, honestly. Like, people like Yulo as well.
Yeah.
Doing stupid ass tumbles, like 2.5 on a double pike.
Yeah, and his landings are so good.
Seen it in person. It is beautiful.
Crazy. I remember, like, when we were, when he did come to England for, like, the training camp and the comps and stuff, like, it was so crazy just, like, watching his gymnastics. Because not even when he was doing, like, full skills, just, like, his preps and stuff as well were just, like, insane, I thought.
It's like his handspring pike front on vault.
Yeah.
He opens out so early and he's still got, like, another 5 meters before it hits the floor or something stupid.
It's mad. And even his floor, like, I remember, I wasn't even watching his floor. I think I was warming up. Or was I even warming up? No, yeah, it was podium training day. I was warming up. And I sort of just looked over. Obviously, he's really small, so you can't really see him. And I looked over at the floor, and I just heard a bang, and then I just saw him just, like, over everyone's head doing a pike front. It was, like, this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's after a 2.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I don't get it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's someone like that. He's got so much power, and he really uses it to his advantage.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, you just got to use what you've got to your advantage. Like, I'm decent at twisting.
Yeah.
Issue is, that's getting penalised.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
as of last code and now this code, like, twist combinations have now been taken out. And then now you need double somersault finish.
Yeah.
And you can only get twist into double somersault combinations. Like, it's
annoying. Very annoying.
Yeah. So, again, you just got to play to your strengths. If you can put in, like, as much value into single somersault twists as you can, but then still have a couple double somersault twists in there as well, and finish on, like, even a double pike's a D at this point. Like, yeah, still worth it.
Yeah, I mean, even forward tumbles, to be fair.
I actually forgot something as well. Because dismounts are changing next code.
Oh, isn't it like a stick bonus or something?
So, no, not that. That was actually, I don't think that's happening. Basically, so next code, for whatever dismount you do, you get whatever the value is added on. So currently, if it's a D plus, you get the full 5/10 requirement. Right. Basically. Okay. But now this code, that's been scrapped, and if you basically get the element value added on. So A, you get 1/10, B, you get 2/10, C, you get 3/10.
So you get the full
added on,
but you also get the
So you get the requirement value is based on how difficult the dismount was.
Right.
So say you finish on a double pike back, you've got the D value, but then for the element groups, if you hit all the element groups, you've got 5/10 for doing a forward tumble. You got 5/10 for doing a backward tumble. You got 5/10 for doing a non-acrobatic element. Then you've got 4/10 for the dismount.
Right. That's weird.
Yes.
That's very weird.
So people are going to be encouraged to do these crazy dismounts. So if you've got a G, you get 7/10
for a
extra. So the difference between doing an E and an F is a 2/10 difference, not a 1/10 difference now. Same with E and a D. But then if you've got someone doing a D dismount, someone doing a G dismount, that's 6/10 in that.
Jesus Christ.
So people are really incentivized to do huge dismounts now, like triple pike off bar and stuff like that. Like Joe's
is that like everywhere now?
Everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Except for vault, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe pommel. I don't actually know.
I mean, I don't know. It would make, the highest you can really get on pommel is 5/10.
Isn't he? Yeah. I think they'll probably do it on pommel as well. But no one's really. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be able to figure out a way of doing an F dismount on pommel.
Do like a somersault off the pommel or something. But
something like that. I think that used to be a thing.
Yeah, they did. I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, they do a circle into like a tuck back or something.
Imagine they still did that.
That'd probably be worth nothing now.
They think it's a fall or something, probably.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's gonna be weird. Like, I mean, a lot of people. Well, in other pieces, like everywhere apart from maybe floor and high bar, maybe rings as well. Everything's pretty much gonna be just 5 temps because nobody's really gonna go higher than that unless people are doing like double back falls of P-bars. And like, what's his name? Camilo Vera. He does triple back.
Yeah. Triple back, I don't even know what that would be worth because it's not been submitted to the code because he's not done it in a major.
Yeah, very true.
And not even a major, just a world cup or a world champs or Olympics, I guess.
Yeah. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if he won. He's too young though. Yeah, he's way too young, but still. I mean, what's his name? Anhal's going, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I think he only does double on the end, right? Like currently.
Who, Camila?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He only competes double off
the
end. But I think that's F right now.
Still good.
Just from glancing at the code of points, I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's an F. Yeah, people are going to be incentivized to do these big dismounts. And I think that will also change how people put their routines together.
Yeah.
Because they might... Because you've got to think about what you're gaining from doing each of these dismounts. And if you gain more from doing a bigger dismount but a smaller routine, so you can get through to the dismount, that might be worth doing.
Yeah.
But again, you got to think about how you're going to land it.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's just more complexity.
A lot. It's going to be a lot more planning that's going to have to go into these routines than obviously that they have been. Because obviously, like, I feel like this code of points, the one that we've been in currently, that's been a lot more like linear, if that makes sense. And going into the next code, it's going to be very much, I don't know, it's going to be more varied. In
a couple more moving parts.
Yeah, a lot more. So it's going to be a lot more confusing. But like, I think it's one of those things that it's literally just, as I've said before, you don't really know what it's going to be like until it's there. But,
until you see some of the highest level gymnasts doing some of the craziest things, and then it just sort of gives you ideas. And like, I can do that. I can try that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what gymnastics is anyway already. Like, you see someone doing a crazy skill and like, that could be something for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like giant McCuts, like Yule does.
Yeah.
From America.
I'd like to learn that, to be fair. It seems like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like doing something like that would be easier than doing giant DM, in my opinion. I don't know, because it's basically a prep for giant DM.
Yeah, like the giant to one, like giant DM to one is a prep for giant DM.
Exactly, yeah.
And yeah, maybe it would be easier, maybe it would be harder, but you also have to think about you've got to stay on that one bar.
Yeah, very true.
And you got to be able to balance there before you then do the McCuts, unless you're just chucking it like some people do, which is scary to watch.
Yeah, literally.
But like, I'm confident with my McCuts. I'm very, very confident with it.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about like other stuff on P-bars as well. Like, my undersumming's pretty good, and maybe I could try doing something like an undersumming DM.
Yeah.
Or like undersumming McCuts.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is that I've already learned undersumming half, and it's a different technique.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go step forwards rather than like stepping backwards and hopping backwards as well. You got to keep your hand on. So it is a lot different, but undersumming DM's going to an F. Undersumming McCuts is a G.
Jeez.
And undersumming DM quarter is also G.
Have people actually done that though?
I know that people have done undersumming DM before.
Yeah, that was the undersumming full, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What happened to that? No one does that anymore, really, do they?
I know some people did it like
a while ago.
They would go onto the one bar and then step back in.
Yeah.
So that's an undersumming half.
Right.
Technically.
Yeah.
So it's a G.
Okay.
No, E.
E, yeah.
E.
Yeah.
So that's an E. But yeah, if you do it then to a McCuts, and that's a G. If you do it all the way around, which is maybe harder, maybe easier, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on which way you McCuts, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, F.
Yeah.
And then if you go even further around, which definitely harder.
Yeah.
That's a G.
Jeez, that's crazy though. I feel like I couldn't wrap my head around the technique for that. It would be so like really weird.
It would feel weird, but it's similar to how giant DM would feel, I feel like. Like at the start.
Yeah.
You're not used to not turning your hand when you're underneath the bar.
Yeah.
or like just coming up from underneath the bar, and it's a similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think, because it's the same motion once you've gotten out from underneath the bar. It's just that one's from an under-semi, one's from a giant.
Yeah.
And given the difficulty is different, maybe the GM one, maybe the under-semi one's different.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Or harder.
Well, yeah.
But again, it's preference.
Yeah.
So it's finding what works for you.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that. But again, we'll have to see what other people do, really.
Yeah. It will literally be based on that. Because I feel like once we've seen what people are doing and how they sort of execute that sort of stuff, it makes it a lot easier to sort of know what we need to do. Yeah,
I think after the first year, I think it becomes a lot more clear.
Yeah, by the Olympics 2028, we'll sort of just, everyone will be doing the same thing, I think. Because I feel like that's sort of where we're at now. Like, a lot of gymnasts are doing the same routines, and obviously their star values are the same. Like, say, for example, on vault, everyone's doing drags, everyone's doing, well, there's like a few people doing Reese one, but not many. It's like 3 or 4. I don't know how that's going to work. Like, I feel like, because obviously with the selection processes with different countries, and like, for example, for GB, there's selection scores you have to hit. And obviously it changes every year, but I don't know how that would affect the vault selection scores, because obviously they're quite high, and having to...
I mean, they would probably just decrease it by 4/10.
Yeah, true. You never know, though. It's one
of those. You never know.
Hopefully that is the case, but who knows? We might have to be like having people do like pike drags as like a normal vault now or something like that.
Something like that. Going into this next code, we talked a lot about the changes that are happening. What do you think, for you, the biggest change for your routines will actually be?
That's a good question. Very good question. I think for me, my biggest challenge is, well, I'd say challenges, but the biggest changes that are going to be for me are like the fitting different requirements. And because obviously my routines at the moment, because I feel like I speak for a lot of gymnasts when I say this, that the routines that you put out in competitions are very different to the skills that you do in training. Like, you obviously have a much wider vocabulary of skills in training, but only the consistent ones will be put into routines. So for me, like, my routines are quite basic. Well, I wouldn't say basic, but some of my routines are quite basic compared to what I actually do. And so having to put all these new skills out in routines and get the consistency to put them in routines is going to be a big challenge. But I think, just getting the skills that are required is going to be my biggest challenge. And then once I actually get them out, I'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain that one, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you said that you're working a lot towards these new skills and stuff like that. You gaining consistency with them? Fine. Yeah.
Pretty relatively, yeah.
Yeah. So different question, different sort of thing. So we spoke a lot about also your ring strength and how you're pretty strong, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What role does S&C sort of play in that?
Pretty big role, I'd say. So since last year, I've been on junior GB squad. And so that with that becomes access to free physio, healthcare, psychology, nutrition, S&C. And so I've been using the S&C pretty consistently since then, because it's just, I feel like it just makes a massive difference in terms of just your overall strength. I obviously started using it initially because I had a back injury. I had stress response in my back. And so that was just sort of used to strengthen the areas in my back, my legs and stuff, to sort of help support that. And I still am doing a program based off of that to try and strengthen my back and stuff. But it's a lot more general now. And I feel like that it helps massively, because it sort of allows me to work different muscle groups that I wouldn't necessarily work just from doing general gymnastics, conditioning and stuff like that. And it will just, help me to sort of use those muscle groups in different strength skills that,
Do you think it helps with injury prevention as well?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think strengthening different parts of your body, like, say, for example, with my back being injured, well, not so much anymore, but with it having been injured, the physios and doctors have said that a lot of different areas, say, for example, like my core, some areas in my lower back are very weak, my glutes especially as well. And so working those can help to sort of prevent any imbalances within muscles and stuff like that, so that those injuries are prevented, so that you don't, sort of, your body doesn't sort of just give up.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so how I understand it is that when you strengthen like sort of the muscles around it, around what need to work, and strengthen basically everything, especially the ones that don't normally get used. When you're put in a position that you need to use that muscle, if it's not been strengthened, you'll have to resort to the other muscles.
Yeah.
And that's what causes the injury sometimes.
Yeah.
And so when you strengthen everything, even the ones that you don't normally use, like the tiny muscles in your wrist and the tiny muscles in your shoulder and your rotator cuff, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Strengthening everything does give you a more solid base and makes you less likely to injure yourself.
Yeah.
Is how I understand it.
Yeah. I think a massive thing with S&C, like, it's good to obviously just go and get different things strengthened to sort of prevent these injuries, but consistency in that is vital. Like, you need to have sort of a plan of action to, like, go every week or go multiple times a week to get different, or to work different things, and constantly like changing programs to ensure that everything that you're working is progressing and getting better. Like, for example, with me, my program, it changes every 4 weeks. So I'll do, the first week is normally just like a base week. So it's just like light weights and just sort of seeing where I'm at with different exercises. And then the next few weeks are sort of progressing and like building weight up and stuff like that, and trying to sort of get as much strength in those areas as I can before the next program starts. But everything sort of stays pretty similar to sort of like ensure that I'm not, I don't know, there's variation in my exercises, but I'm not like making things too different so that I'm not working the right muscle groups. That makes sense. So yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously it's hugely important, and you work it quite consistently. So how many sessions would you do a week?
Because of college and gym being like taking up pretty much my whole life, I normally do one a week, every Wednesday. But since I've finished college for this year, finished college until September now, I'm looking at doing more sessions a week. So maybe 2 or 3 sessions a week, just to sort of give myself the better chance of getting stronger and preventing all these injuries that I keep getting.
Yeah. And since you're at college and gym so much, and you have been struggling to get into the S&C gym, basically, is there anything that you do in the gym that sort of replicates it, that you can sort of,
yeah. So obviously S&C doesn't just mean weight training. So there's a lot of body weight training and other things that are on my program that I do in the gym at start of sessions, maybe just for like an activation, or towards the end if it's a stretch or something like that. So I incorporate those in my training pretty much every day, just to sort of have a bit of an activation program before my session, really, just to get me warm and ready for the gymnastics I'm going to do. And then outside of gym as well, when I'm not able to make it to the S&C gym, or if I've got a day off gym, for example, I'll go to another gym. Say I've got I'll probably buy a day pass or something, just go to a random gym and just get my program done, just to make sure that I'm still getting what I need to get done.
When you're getting S&C programs done, whatever, and when you're working towards like figuring them out, do you work with the S&C coach? By the way, strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
Do you work with them? Do them and the physio work together? Who sort of comes up with it?
I feel like it's a bit of like I don't know, there's a lot of communication between all three, physio, S&C coach, and myself. So with me, when I made my program, I didn't necessarily speak to my S&C coach like directly to when he made the program. I sort of had my physio appointments, spoke to my physio, and he sort of suggested different things that were going to help. And he said that, speak to the S&C coach. Well, actually, no, she will, because it was a woman at the time. So, yeah, she said that she'll speak to speak to the coach and see what will be best for me and my back. And then once that program had been made, I then went and spoke to the S&C coach and sort of went through the program and saw what was effective, what wasn't, and sort of just tried out things and sort of based it off of that. And I think each month even, because it's a 4-week plan, we sort of go back and look at what has been effective, what hasn't been effective, and sort of adapt the program based off of that. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. And when you're doing S&C, does it alter based on how you're feeling or based on just purely on what you can and can't do based on like injuries?
It's definitely very adaptable. So there's weeks where I might not be feeling 100%. I might be like a bit unwell maybe, or I just feel tired or something like that. And so when I go to those sessions, we normally have to fill out this little form that is like, what was it called again? I couldn't even tell you. It's just like a little questionnaire where it's like you scale yourself from 1 to 10 of how like tired you are, how sore you are, or like your overall mood of the day and stuff like that. And so once that question has been filled out, it sort of gives the coach a bit of a better idea of what you'll be able to do in that session. And so maybe you'll need to do lighter weights, for example, if your muscles are really sore, or you might need to do like adapt an exercise because of an injury or something like that. So it's very easy to adapt different exercises to sort of not have to trigger certain injuries or something else like tiredness or something. So like me, for example, because I'm got some injuries going on at the moment with my wrist and my shoulder. And so when I've been going to S&C, I've just been doing stuff that aren't triggering those pains. So that will be like lighter weights on some exercises, or adapting some certain other exercises to not have to use those different muscle groups.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. Yeah. And I think I've talked about this a bit, but I've talked about how gymnastics is about adapting a lot. Like there's short term, long term, and there's like medium, but like it's adapting to how your body feels like daily. Mm-hmm. It's adapting to any injuries you might have based on, and that's to do with however long the actual injury is. Mm-hmm. There's adapting long term, like to the code and to sort of your own body even throughout the space of your entire career. Mm. Like it's always about adapting to what's in front of you, what you're doing, all that sort of stuff, and the situation you're in as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of what gymnastics is in general.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always a lot of different nuances and things that you just sort of have to like sort of figure out. Like I'll probably get a lot of stuff wrong on this podcast because that's just the nature of like this sport is so complex and so intricate that there is so much to know.
Yeah.
That I'm going to get stuff wrong. Like I know I'm going to get stuff wrong. Mm-hmm. Like on the recording with Gabe, I couldn't remember, or neither of us could remember the name of the skill that is like Markelov full.
Rebecca. Oh wait, Markelov.
Wallstrom.
Never heard of it.
It's so you go. It's Markelov, you know.
Yeah.
Full turn. It's what the Chinese Taipei guy does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So neither of us could remember that, but like, I know I'm gonna get stuff wrong, so it's fine. But yeah, but because it's only just because there's so much to know.
Yeah.
And that's part of what this is about, just gaining knowledge and learning about the skills themselves, but also how they work together for like sometimes just in combinations, but also just in the grand scheme of things, the routine itself, and also even the grander scheme of things, the competition as a whole.
Yeah.
And even bigger, the person itself doing it.
Yeah.
So there's just so much to know, and it's impossible to know it all.
Yeah.
And you can't feel bad for not knowing it all because it just doesn't come naturally, because I mean it's impossible. Yeah. Like even our coach, who's been in the sport for 30 years, sometimes he won't know what's like a skill is worth, or what, like, immediately what a routine's worth, but he's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause it's just the fact that the sport is changing so much every 4 years. It's just like, it's very hard to keep up with something, because once you've sort of got your head around the sport, it's changing again pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
there's always more.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to sort of just keep up with. That's why I'm like, to be fair, I kind of understand how gymnastics is like. I mean, I don't feel like it's as popular of a sport as, say, like football, for example, obviously. And I feel like that's just because it's such a hard sport to follow. Like, you can't really, I don't know, like with football, for example, like, you can sort of follow a team and that sort of it. Like, you obviously, you know the rules of the sport, they stay the same pretty much. Like, I don't think they've ever changed really. Well, they have, but like, you know what I mean? They're barely
so
changed.
Like, in the history of football, the rules have changed relatively little.
Yeah, exactly.
In the history of gymnastics, they have changed so much.
Yeah. And they're changing even like more in this next code.
Yeah, like the skill values change every 4 years on all of them, but like
some of them.
A lot of them change every 4 years.
Yeah.
The rules themselves on each of the apparatus change every 4 years.
Yeah.
But then I can't even remember when it was like 2006 or something. There was like a massive overhaul, or 2006, 2008, I can't remember. There was like a massive overhaul, and suddenly 10 wasn't the highest you could score on a routine anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just
like, people
crazy.
Talk about the perfect 10, even though that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You get marked out of 10 on execution, but no one will ever get a perfect 10.
Exactly. I mean, the only people that can get perfect 10s now are like college gymnasts, and then like if you're doing elite grade level gymnastics, but like even then, like, that's just, I don't even know. It's not even like, I mean, it's real gymnastics, but it's not like high level. It's
different because it's the pure purpose of, say, elite grades, for example,
is to get onto the program.
is to get onto the GB programs so that they know who to look out for.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everyone does the exact same routines, and it's just to sort of weed out the ones who can execute stuff well.
And that's literally only a thing in Britain.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously the other countries have their own versions of that, but we don't really know what that consists of, really. I mean, unless you've done your research, but like, I know I
haven't.
Yeah, so it's, having that, I mean, having that, like, being able to follow the sport and not have that knowledge of the sport is so hard. And I feel like the amount of people that have that knowledge is so, like, minimal.
Yeah, you have to actually attempt to know it.
Yeah.
To know it.
Yeah, no one will just know it.
Yeah, so, like, if you want to follow gymnastics, yes, there are like a couple televised competitions per year.
Yeah. But
there's really not that many.
Like maybe 2 or 3.
There's Worlds, and there's
Olympics.
Euros, and then there's Olympics.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any others that are actually televised at all.
That's
like,
it.
you can watch live streams, but again, you have to go out of your way to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But like other sports like basketball, football, even like golf, like you can literally just turn on a channel and it's all there.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's because those have had, I want to say, more history. They haven't had more history, but they've had more history in the limelight.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've grown a lot faster. We're sort of like on the back foot, I guess.
I feel like gymnastics now, though, is growing so much more than ever, I think. Like, when I was younger, gymnastics wasn't a very popular sport. Like, when I'd say to people, oh yeah, I do gymnastics, they'd know nothing. Like, maybe like a couple of teachers in primary school would be like, oh yeah, I used to watch it in like the 1900s or something. But like, I've never really come across, well, when I was younger anyway, I'd never really come across anyone that had any idea what gymnastics was. Well, if that makes sense. But like, now, if I was to say to someone, yeah, I do gymnastics, they'd all be like, oh yeah, I enjoy watching it all the time when I'm on TV and stuff like that. And they all just like, they're all familiar with the sport.
Yeah, I think it's a sport that a lot of people now watch on like the Olympics when the Olympics is on. Because, I mean, there's so many different things to it.
It's an exciting sport.
It's an exciting sport to watch because you got each of the different apparatus. They've all got their different things, but then you've got men's, women's, you got rhythmic, trampolining, tumbling. I don't even.
It's not an Olympic sport, but
neither of those are Olympics.
Trampolining
is.
Yeah.
Tumbling isn't, but then you also got rhythmic. And while personally, I don't think rhythmic is as exciting as artistic.
Yeah.
I think there's still merit to it. And when you say gymnastics, that's everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that is trampoline, that is men's artistic, that is women's artistic, that is rhythmic.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you say gymnastics, yes, they might think you chuck a ribbon around.
Yeah.
But
it's still gymnastics.
They still know something.
Yeah, exactly.
And British Gymnastics, who covers all of those in Britain, including tumbling as well.
Yeah, and Team Gym as well. Yeah.
And Team Gym, yeah. They are getting progressively more and more funding to play with from UK sport because being a professional athlete is more feasible nowadays, but also gymnastics is getting more in the mainstream a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much, but it's still something.
Still something. I mean, it's growing every day, I think. I think in 10 years' time, well, maybe not 10 years' time, maybe probably a bit further down the line than that, but eventually it will be I feel like it will be a huge sport. It will be one of those sports that you'll turn on the TV and it will just be on. You'll just be able to see different gymnasts doing stuff. I mean, there's obviously a lot of stuff, a lot different with gymnastics compared to sports like football, for example. The season in gymnastics is very different. So you'll have the main competition season and then nothing really else happens the rest of the year. So they'll just be if it was all televised, it would just be a huge period of just nothing on gymnastics. So I mean, there'll be maybe in a few different countries there'll be just random competitions, French league competitions or stuff like that. But in the UK specifically, there's not really much that goes on apart from the British champs and stuff like that in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I know that in America, college gymnastics is quite big.
Yeah,
though, and America is sometimes just the thing that everyone else follows. Yeah, kind of. So, I think it's a good sign of things to come because these college gymnasts, yes, they do a ton of just competitions every week, bashing them out like crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's bringing it more into the mainstream.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think is also a good thing.
Very good thing. I mean, we had sort of a glimpse of that, not necessarily college gymnastics, but more of an entertaining side of gymnastics in, when was it now? 2018, was it? With the Superstars Gymnastics. I don't know if you remember that. It was on at the same time as the World Cup in Birmingham.
Right.
And Dom was there. Who else was there? It was just loads of gymnasts, loads of really good gymnasts from around the world. They just sort of came and did their performances and stuff. And that sort of, I don't know, created a bit more of a entertaining side of gymnastics. And I feel like that definitely helped with the popularity of the sport and stuff like that. And I feel like since then, I'd sort of noticed that a lot of gymnastics had been a bit more in the limelight, for example. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of the clip from Rio 2016 of the crease rings.
Yeah.
He was it's the clip of him jumping up to the ring, trying to jump up to the rings, and then the Brazilian gymnast comes and helps. Yeah. It just reminds me of that. And it is getting bigger. And I think it is definitely a sign of things to come.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I hope so at least.
Yeah. I think stuff like that, the entertainment side of the sport, they should do more of that, I think. That would definitely, I mean, obviously it would be a lot of money going into it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it will be very useful for the popularity of the sport. I feel like putting money into it will get more money out of it.
Yeah. The thing is, in my opinion, people often want to see the actual gymnastics. That's just how it works. The issue, I think, with getting all those events and stuff done is that you'll be forcing these gymnasts to do competitions in times that they'll normally be doing skills training and stuff like that. Very true, yeah. And which is why I think that most people that do stuff for the sport are ex-gymnasts, like Niall.
Yeah.
And like Sam.
Yeah.
Sam's doing the podcast and Niall's starting up gyms or at least taking over gyms.
Yeah.
But he's just increased the eyes on the sport, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because his YouTube was
huge,
booming.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he was a gymnast and continued to after.
He still is, isn't he? He's still doing.
Yeah, he's still doing. Yeah. Still doing well.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
I think that's a really good thing. But I think it's sort of ex-gymnasts that sort of have to do it because they're also not confined to doing training.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Sam's still coaching. I don't know what Niall does.
Yeah, I think he does coaching.
I'm assuming he pretty much does that full time. Like he does what he does full time though.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Because his brand is huge now.
Massive, yeah.
But I think that's a really good thing for the sport. And I've had to sort of change my opinions over time, but
I mean, it's just working for him.
Yeah. And it's working for him. It's working for the sport in general.
Yeah.
So.
And then Joe's obviously going down that path as well.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, he's starting up his gymnastics club.
Yeah.
And then who else? There was this, I saw this thing, the clothes brand that, who was it? James
and Jake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just those two.
I don't even know. But it's I know that Jake's doing it. I know James is doing it. And well, I thought it was just James to start with because basically I was in Lillishall at one of the senior training camps relatively recently, actually.
I think it's the one before that.
They asked me to try some of the stuff on, like the prototype stuff on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's cool that they're getting all the people in that. And increasing the visibility of the sport as well. Yeah. And it does take some people that have been in the sport their whole lives to do it.
Yeah.
And it does take them being pretty well known already. But yeah, it does. It's a market, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's very it's just very good to see that there's people sort of doing what they can to increase the popularity of the sport, and just people can just sort of like see gymnastics as exciting sport and something that is, you sort of look at the sport and like, I want to get my kids into that, or I wish I would have done that when I was younger. But yeah,
I think everything took a bit of a dip over lockdown, but then since then I think it has been progressing slowly but surely, at least.
I think even Gymstars brought that sort of popularity to the sport as well. I mean, obviously we both were on Gymstars, and what I didn't realize was how well known that show was. Like, we sort of did it, and then there wasn't really much else that happened after that. We sort of just went on with our lives. But like going to, like, when I went to the British this year, the amount of recognition that I got,
so many people,
ridiculous. So like, you don't really realize how many people sort of are watching the sport and watching you as a gymnast until you're sort of in those moments and seeing people that are coming up to you saying, "Oh, I recognize you from here." I'm just like, "Oh,
Like I was at the British for a day.
Yeah.
And I was on crutches.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't move very much.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was still getting recognised like left, right and centre. It was crazy.
Exactly.
And it's weird to think that I've actually got that recognition somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't think of myself as any different from any other person.
Yeah.
But then you have to think about, well, how much training have I put in? How much work have I put in? And what have I achieved? And then you sort of put it in perspective like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I feel like moments like that are very like, I don't know, it's just a very nice moment to have. Like when you sort of, when you're recognised for the thing that you do, the thing that you put all your time into. And like having that sort of recognition, I don't know, it's just a very motivating and very like.
And having people say, "Oh, you inspired me." Like,
it's huge.
I didn't think I was capable of that.
Yeah, literally.
Did not think I was capable of that, but it happened.
Yeah.
And like seeing it was a message on Instagram, and I don't know, really?
Yeah.
Like me. But then, it's weird to think, but like gymnastics has grown and the viewership has grown and people will recognize even younger gymnasts now, like international gymnasts, like the Junior Worlds team, like the Junior Euros team from 2024.
Yeah.
Just been.
I mean, they pretty much made history, didn't they? Like, they did amazing at that competition.
Yeah.
So were they the first junior European champion team?
Definitely not.
No, I didn't think so. Yeah, never mind. But I know that Game
they did amazing.
Around, isn't it? Well, not first, but he was like
we had 5 in a row, I think. We had 5 golds in a row.
Oh, wow.
In Europeans.
Oh, yeah.
Juniors.
From like 2015 or something onwards, wasn't it? Or something like that. No,
it
would
have been
2014 onwards.
If that was the case. Yeah. But I know like it was like from
from like Dan Keating's onwards. No, it was even earlier than 2014 then, wouldn't it have been?
I don't even know. But yeah, I think it was like... Was Frank Baines one of them?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like Dan, Frank.
Gianni was the last one. I remember Gianni was the last one.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like... When was it? It was like 5 years ago or something.
That's
so 2019. So that would have been from 2015, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So from 15 to 19.
Jeez.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then there would have been this one.
I don't even know.
Yeah. But yeah.
No, it's every 2 years.
Oh, yeah. So it would have been like really early then.
It would have been really early, yeah. So it would have been like 2018 would have been the last one.
Yeah.
So 6 years.
So it would have been like 20...
That would have...
2008 or 2010 or something.
Would G have been doing that one?
Yeah, I would have... No, he wouldn't have. He would have done like 2016.
2016 it would have been then. So 8 years. Yeah, Gianni definitely did 2018. He definitely won it.
Yeah.
2016 and definitely won it.
Yeah, because he did EOF as well, didn't he? No, Fraz won EOF.
I can't remember. That was such a long time ago.
Yeah, I know that Joe definitely won EOF.
But no, yeah, I remember that 2016 would have been the last one because G was the last one in the list.
Yeah.
So from like 2014, 2012, 2010, 2008.
Jeez, so since like early then. Well, that would have been around
2010. 2010 would have been the last one. So 2010, 2008. 2008, 10, 12, 14, 16.
Ah, okay. Yeah, there we go. We got it in the end.
Yes. Yeah, 5 consecutive junior Euros we won.
Wow.
So we didn't get 2018, we didn't get 2022, we didn't get 2024.
Yeah. I think obviously as upcoming gymnasts ourselves, as going into senior ranks and stuff like that, having that sort of like being able to look up to gymnasts higher up that have gone and been successful and stuff like that is worked like very well with us, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
Knowing what they've achieved.
And then we have to get to that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's very easy to beat yourself up and like, I'm not where they were when they were this age or whatever. Like when Joe was my age, he won a world championship medal on P-bars.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He was the world champion on P-bars.
And he was the first P-bar world champion as well.
First P-bar world champion.
Stupid. But like...
When he was 19.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, like, there's the thing where obviously everyone's journey is different. And so you'll progress at your own rate, which is something that Luke speaks to us about all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but me specifically as well. He speaks to me about it. It's like, yeah, your journey is going to be different to, say, like, Cordy Luke's journey, because he's pretty similar to me, the rings worker as well. Well, I wouldn't say I'm pretty similar to him, I'd say. Yeah, he's a rings worker. He's good on vault, and he's a very good gymnast. And so, obviously, his journey is going to be different to my journey, which is going to be different to your journey. And so, it's just sort of trusting that your ability and knowing where you want to be and working towards that. And yeah, that will sort of just get you where you want to be.
Yeah, trusting the process, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was just thinking that everyone peaks at different times as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I don't know when. Well, no one really knows when their peak is. They might not even know when that's happening. You only really know on the way down.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just trusting that it will happen, and when it happens, it happens. Like there's nothing.
Capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you don't know, you got to capitalize on every opportunity that you're given.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to take everything. I don't want to say by the balls.
Yeah. You've got to grab it by the, what was Luke said? He's got to grab the bull by the horns.
Bull by the horns, yeah.
Grab the bull by the horns.
Yeah, so take every opportunity.
Yeah.
Grab the bull by the horns.
And just go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Commit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best lesson.
Yeah, that is the lesson you're going to take away.
Yeah, and yes, listen to it. Listen to your body, recover, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's all part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
In the end, it's about committing. It's about going, playing full out.
Yeah.
Doing your best, really.
Yeah, and that is all you can do. All you can do is your best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you for listening to the Game Gymnastics Podcast. I hope you'll join me in listening to the next one.
Yep, and thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Peace.